Well, ladies and gents, I was not expecting this. Godzilla vs. Kong director teases Mechagodzilla and King Ghidorah, their roles in Godzilla vs. Kong. Oh my lord! This is insane. I was not expecting this today. What a great thing to have on a Monday. Love it. Absolutely love it. Really, really do love it. Ah, so good. So good. This is on comicbook.com. They obviously, went to the set and things like that. I'm super happy about this. This is great news. This is genuinely great news. So we're going to dive into this today, and some other bits and pieces as well. But stop the presses, ladies and gentlemen. We have a video sponsor today. Now, this video is proudly sponsored by NordVPN, and you guys know, long-time subscribers will know, I don't run ad sponsors. I never do. But NordVPN reached out and I thought to myself, hey, actually this year, these last 2 years, I could have done with a VPN. Why? Because the whole world is locked down and geo-locked content is an issue. So we all know what VPNs are, virtual private networks. They have a whole host of benefits from ad blockers, cybersecurity, encryptions, and also unlocking geo-locked content, which is why I chose to run this advert where NordVPN reached out. Now, they're actually hosting a great offer the month of February, so please do grab it whilst you can by using my link, which is just Mr. H. You'll find a link to it down below in the description box as well as in the pinned comment. Now, again, this is a 2-year offer running only the month of February, so please do go and check it out. You also, if you're unsatisfied with it, you do get a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's really easy to use as well. You can see it on the screen right now, just running through it. You literally just log into the app, you choose where you want to be in the world, and again, like I say, this content is geo-locked, so in terms of Godzilla vs. Kong releasing on HBO Max, if the theatres aren't open, I need to select that I am in the States, and then hey, I can sign up to HBO Max and should be able to watch it there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, grab it whilst you can. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Support the companies that choose to support your content creators, the ones that you like, because they do help keep the lights on the channel. So again, thank you to NordVPN, and thank you, ladies and gents, for allowing me to do what I do. Cheers. So let's take a look, shall we, ladies and gents? Let's dive into it. So Godzilla and Kong will not be the only titans in Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, a lot of these rumours and leaks, we knew this anyway, but this is like confirmation, which is good. In fact, the film is set to introduce quite a few new beasts as it journeys through Hollow Earth and new monsters make their way to the big screen. However, some familiar names will also be joining the chaos, but in a less traditional sense. The first trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong gave audiences their first teases of Mechagodzilla, making a debut, and, while on the set of the massive film, comicbook.com got a look at a 60-foot skull created on a set, posing as Ghidorah's left head, which was severed in Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Love it. Love it. I think in a subtle way, Ghidorah kind of haunts this movie, Adam Wingard explained. That's the most recent event, and even though in terms of the monster world, because this film takes place a relatively short period afterwards, but specifics is just one of those things where yeah. I can't really talk about it too much as possible. I just want people to have as pure of an experience as they can. Good sentiments from Adam Wingard there. Somehow, the Ghidorah skull will be tied to or directly connected to the Mechagodzilla of it all, as the massive neon-lit wires sprawled out from the skull like tendrils illuminating the control room inside of it. And what? Illuminate? So they got what? They got a control room inside of the skull? Somehow, the Ghidorah skull will be tied to or directly connected to the Mechagodzilla of it all, as the massive neon-lit wires sprawled out from the skull like tendrils illuminating the control room inside of it and reflective black floor beneath it. Not far behind that control room were LED screens with blueprints for Mechagodzilla. What? I love how bizarre this is. Love it. Now, Owen Patterson, a production designer, stated, "No one had ever really designed the Ghidorah skull. We designed like the idea of the computer underneath it, where all the lights were, this glass floor, so they could be sneaking along and looking up through the glass floor. I don't know if we ever really do that. And then, of course, the brain," sounds like the leaks were true, "which we call the brain, that's in there. It's meant to be some sort of quasi-technical thing that's been worked out by Apex to do it. So, funnily enough, it was quite a complex scene, that sort of human relationship to something that we all know." So it's not even. So it's like Mechagodzilla actually is Ghidorah. They've got an interesting way of making Mechagodzilla here, sort of, technically, maybe. Ah, oh, so weird. I love it. The headquarters of sorts, which has been set up inside this Ghidorah skull, will send some sort of signal out in Godzilla vs. Kong, which will be a key part of the film, which is making him go mad. Which allows the incredibly designed set to show itself off, sending the signal out, and then at one point, there was a different big story point that happened, Patterson teased. Around that time, we thought, oh, well, if the brainwaves are starting there, we can physically see that happen, and it can go up into the brain, and then it can fire in the brain and then disseminate out. The dozens of neon lighted wires will represent those waves coming and going, and will be sending to Mechagodzilla. It seems quite possible. My god, this sounds so cool and so weird. So awesome. But wait, ladies and gents, there's more. So, we've got even more story teasers here. I love it. This is from Set Visit. So when comicbook.com visited the set of Godzilla vs. Kong, the massive skull modelled after a dragon was quite a mystery. So, King Ghidorah. Seeing as Godzilla King of the Monsters hadn't yet hit theatres. Oh, wow. Love it. We always forget that this film, filmed before they'd even bloody released the King of the Monsters. The room was dark, quiet, and had a mind-boggling centerpiece with glowing neon wires draping from it, and a control room big enough for multiple 6-foot humans to stand inside. Now, it's clear to see this was the skull of a massive left head of Ghidorah, which Godzilla had severed, and it's about to play a key role in Godzilla vs. Kong. There's more stuff like that. I'm not just repeating the things that I've already just covered. Crazy. It should come as no surprise that Godzilla vs. Kong is going big. On a cool day in Australia back in early 2019, the cast and filmmakers allowed us to see just how big the neon-coloured, globe-trotting, city-smashing event will be. Walking into Stage 8 at Village Roadshow Studios on Australia's east coast, the scope of Godzilla vs. Kong starts to sink in. Stepping into the production, we are greeted by darkness, followed by little cloth baggies to put on our shoes, as to not scuff the fully reflective floor. Oh, it's almost like a monolith, isn't it? On the other side of a curtain, which helps the neon light stemming from Ghidorah's skull glow and illuminate the room, reflecting back on the skull itself. And they've actually got a picture of the skull. Love it. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. It's quite a moment to take in, knowing this gigantic creation before my eyes is part of a fictional story, but still looks like something which belongs in the Smithsonian. Close behind it, atop a metal staircase, which is part of the film's canon, the control room of it all seems to hint this is somehow tied to Mechagodzilla. It all gives vibes of a Pacific Rim-like drift to give someone control of the gigantic robot. How strange. On this day, Millie Bobby Brown's Madison is back in action to get to the bottom of it all. Literally, she and her two new friends, Brian Tyree Henry, Bernie, and Julian Dennison's Josh, are snooping around this location from below, dodging armed guards and looking for answers while also serving up a few laughs. And here and this is it. This is the control room. This is the skull. Fuck, so cool. So cool. She's just trying to become a young woman, and that can be really hard, Millie Bobby Brown says, of her character. With the help of her little trio, she's really growing as a person. Brown's character is going to have a special connection with Godzilla, further than what we have seen before. Interesting. The first movie, King of the Monsters, her relationship with Godzilla was pretty distant. There are moments in King of the Monsters where she gets to have amazing scenes with him, but definitely this movie, Godzilla vs. King Kong, it's much more about that technical side of it. Learning more about the data of him as a titan. Of course, the main event of the film is the pairing of the two titans in the film for a showdown, of which there will be several, according to production designer Tom Hammock. 4 years after King of the Monsters and about 4 decades since Kong Skull Island, the showdown between Godzilla and Kong is more evenly matched than it would have been if the giant monkey were the same size as when we last saw him. This is such amazing stuff. Kong is bigger in this film. There's a line in Skull Island that he's still growing, so he's an adolescent in that film. Godzilla vs. Kong producer Alex Garcia explains, sitting at the head of a conference table in the film's concept art plastered war room. Where we begin, 40-something years later, he is significantly larger, but he's still the Kong you know. He has a few tricks up his sleeve, just by the virtue of being around in a modern world and things that he can use and use tactically that Godzilla can't. Still, Kong has the odds stacked against him. Although there are large amounts of time between the preceding movies featured the film's titular titans, Godzilla vs. Kong director Adam Wingard is quick to share his appreciation for the work of directors who worked in this world before him. One of the most important things is that this feels like a legitimate sequel to those movies, Wingard says, referencing 2014's Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and King of the Monsters. Even though Kong is a little bit different in this film, it's only because he's aged from the time of the last movie. So, he's a little more grizzled and all of those kind of things. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that part of the problem with Kong vs. Godzilla, the original movie, is that we'd already established Godzilla. He looks basically like he did in the earlier films. But this was sort of a new King Kong. And then he starts to explain. We also learn new stuff about the Hollow Earth. This is massive news. While the answer was readily available as a means to preserve spoilers, it does seem that humans are going to be playing a key role after Godzilla starts acting up, and the story will dive into backstories, looking at the past for the characters along with their futures. When the kaiju beasts seem to be a threat to humanity, the humans attempt to enlist King Kong as their defender, but their retrieving of Kong from Skull Island goes awry when a shackled Kong is met by Godzilla in an exaggerated Jaws-like sequence, which we've seen in the trailer. If the epic concept art on display is any indication, which it is, we've seen it in the trailer. A second mission is commissioned to go into the Hollow Earth, but it's a much more dangerous journey, Garcia explains, taking a surprisingly deep dive into the film's story details. Alexander Skarsgård, Nathan, who at first is resistant, is eventually, through some very emotional means, convinced to go. He's told that they have new crafts, HEAVs, the Hollow Earth anti-gravity vehicles, for this journey into the Hollow Earth through this different portal. But Nathan only agrees to go if they take Kong with them. The belief is that if they have a creature they believe came from Hollow Earth, it's probably a smart play too, considering there will be all sorts of new monsters in the film, especially in the Hollow Earth sequences. So they take Kong off Skull Island, start making the journey towards Antarctica, and eventually intersect with Godzilla, who we start to realise has been acting the way he's been acting, is because he's trying to stem any other threats to the balance he maintains. Kong obviously hasn't been off Skull Island for a long time. The fact that he's off is causing a disruption to the balance. There's a massive action sequence, which was one of the first things Adam pitched to us. It's really a phenomenal sequence where Godzilla attacks the fleet and there is a massive battle with Godzilla taking out the ships. He's like a shark in the water approaching Kong and they have a massive face-off in the water. Oh my god! I love this shit. As for what is causing Godzilla to act up, Garcia and the gang get a bit hush, but one can assume the massive Apex Corporation could be a part of it. The group, which Garcia explains as a megalithic technological conglomerate, is the group which has acquired Ghidorah's skull. As Ghidorah haunts this movie, it would seem there is something brewing here, especially considering Shun Oguri's Ren Serizawa is involved, and he might just have a bad taste in his mouth after his father sacrificed himself to juice up Godzilla. Oh my lord, I love this. It's not really written in the movie, but how he imagines it is his father. They were close once, and his father was very occupied solving world problems with Godzilla, and he did sort of follow into his father's footsteps, but he doesn't believe he was heard by his father. In general, he's a character who wants to protect the Earth, and that is his goal in general. I think the means to get the goal is a little bit different from everyone else. This is just... I love it. I absolutely love it. There you go, ladies and gents. What do you think? Let me know down below. Yeah, this video is brought to you by NordVPN. Support the companies that support me. Let me know all your thoughts down below, though, guys. And this is a good way to actually access HBO through NordVPN. But cheers. Take care.